You're new, green, and hope still sparkles behind your eyes. Don't fret, I'm here to fix that. The being new part. The ravages of time will dull your sparkle of hope all by itself. As new players, every single one of us at one point or another have made mistakes we were either unaware of or just didn't know how to remedy. Don't worry, Final Fantasy XIV doesn't do a whole lot of hand-holding or explaining, so it's not your fault. Plus, I gotta hand it to the Final Fantasy XIV community for more often than not being as helpful and polite as possible about helping each other out. And I'm going to pay that forward here, by helping with a few common mistakes new and even veteran players tend to make. Welcome to the video, I'm Dying Legacy, and this is 10 mistakes players make. Let's get straight into it, so you can get back to playing quicker. First mistake every player makes happens the moment you start the game. A lot of players never check their settings. So many quality of life improvements and player specific settings that people straight up miss for hundreds of hours. You can straight up change how movement works. I for one use legacy movement settings as this lets me directly run in the opposite direction of where I'm facing, while the default makes you walk backwards instead. You also have other useful settings for how your bags are displayed, as well as the visibility of enemies, friends and characters' health bars and nameplates, and that's only to name a few. I have a dedicated tips video that goes over a whole bunch of useful settings that you may find useful, which I'll link in the description. It is however a little too early in a video to be linking another video, but at your discretion. The second mistake, and one that's really baffling at times, is that a whole bunch of people don't read their tooltips. It's an MMO people, read your tooltips. It's practically the only info the game constantly gives you. Every move and every item have their own tooltips, making playing jobs much easier. I can't tell you how many players I've come across that don't even know how combination skills work and just panic press everything. Your tooltips will tell you everything you need to know about the abilities, moves and attacks you could do. It's Final Fantasy XIV, the game is mostly a novel. Tooltips are no exception. Knowledge really is power here. Only second to pure catgirl charisma. Mistake number 3. And something most players are probably sick to the teeth of hearing, and I can understand why. It's do your MSQ. Everything is tied to it, everything. Rushing to level cap does nothing, as it unlocks nothing. Every form of content, from raiding to unlocking the ability to change your hairstyle, is linked to doing your MSQ. You have to get far enough in the MSQ to be allowed to do just about all of the feature quests. Feature quests are the quests that unlock content. And if you can't unlock content, you'll have nothing to do, which is very self-explanatory. With that information, a lot of people also tend to buy a story skip, so they can jump straight to the action. This isn't a great idea for a number of reasons. Yes, you won't know what the story involves, who anyone is or what you're doing, but story's not for everybody, and that's understandable as everyone plays games for a myriad of different reasons. The issue is that story skip is going to only skip the story, meaning your character or its job won't level with it, leaving you stranded and unable to do the quest to continue and won't be leveled enough to even accept feature quests. So take that into consideration, or buy a job boost. Your money, your fun. Do what you want. Just for the love of Odin's beautiful homegrown beard, learn the job. This leads us straight into mistake 4. A few tidbits that new players trying out jobs that they are either new to or have tried in different games, and every single player has done this. All of us, no exceptions, and before you type it in the comments, no, you did too, stop that. Final Fantasy's jobs all have one purpose: hit the target, kill the target. Each job goes about it differently, but that's a simple explanation. Every job is a DPS with responsibility. So let's go over 2 common mistakes in this category. First off, tanks. You do damage, and hold aggro, with the added responsibility of staying alive in the process. So of course tanks come with damage mitigation abilities, all with differing cooldown periods. Most new players keep these cooldowns for bosses, fearing they won't have cooldown in time. They will always have cooldown in time. And on top of that, the trash mobs hit harder than the bosses. It just takes a moment to realise that as a tank, you tend to die to the trash mobs more than the bosses. And it's not the healer's fault, it's your fault. And the reason is new players don't use their damage mitigation on trash mobs. Always use them on trash mobs, as 10 targets hitting you is going to hit harder than 1 target hitting you. A lot of the time the damage is too fast and too high for a healer to keep up spam healing you. That and a lot of the bosses really do hit like paper bags, so half the time you won't actually need damage mitigation, unless it's a tank buster. And you healers aren't off the hook either. Kinda counterintuitive to the tank talk, you are healing too much. You are a DPS with responsibility. If the tank is doing their job and the DPS are doing their job, you will spend more time attacking targets than healing party members. Enemies don't hit as hard as you think they do, and tanks can take way more damage than you'd expect, and the tanks don't need to be at 100% health all the time. Let them go down to 50% or even 20%. It'll take you very little time to heal them up. Later in the game, attacking targets is what powers your heals and procs your heals. Plus, the best defense is a better offense. Can't get killed if the target's already dead. Mistake 5. We all have done and encountered early on, and even veterans still get wrong. It's mechanics. Not just dungeons or raids, but during the MSQ and out in the world even. And I don't mean high-end raid mechanics, I mean the basics. Like stack markers. The amount of people I've seen just run away when they find a stack marker on themselves. Half the time players assume they need to get away from everyone so they don't get caught up in it, but it's the opposite. Everyone stacks together to lower the damage. Otherwise, the unfortunate player all by themselves will get one shot. AoE is the opposite. They stand in the big orange circles by either believing they can tank it or not realizing that FF14 does AoE damage differently to other games. Usually what happens is that the moment the circle disappears, you've been hit. The circle is before the attack, not during. Rather than being overly detailed about it, if you see a big orange circle, get the fuck out! Thank you for attending my TED Talk. The other basic mechanic that people get wrong, and understandably is it's not overly explained, and it's the purple eyes. The moves themselves can be varied in what they do, either damage or debuffs, effects, yada yada yada. Only thing you need to know is that when you see a giant purple eye, is that you have your character face away from the eye. That's it. Turn around. Look away and you'll avoid whatever nefarious move it was supposed to be. It's an eye. Don't look into it. Mistake number 6. General behaviour. Smack talk or general douchebaggery, or toxicity as some would class it. It's very bannable. You'll notice that when joining content or leaving content, you'll always get a hello or good game and so on. Very polite behaviour, especially compared to other games, and that's because there's a very low tolerance for being a dick. It can be difficult to report someone for any reason. Go have a look. Might take you a bit to find it. In fact, to report a player, you have to go to the system, the support desk, and click contact us. Plus it comes with a few forms and questions to get through. But if you report someone, action will more than likely be taken, for instances as small as telling someone they're shit at the game. Also, Square Enix is not too fond of mods. Enough so that talking about them in-game openly can get you banned. Double that with telling someone that their DPS is laughable when you really shouldn't know what their DPS is. And you may see a ban hammer come your way. So just be nice. Or quiet. You know, we all contain the rage inside us sometimes. Mistake 7, which is one I see a lot, and it's limit breaks. Limit breaks should be used as often as possible, and are usually mainly used by DPS. But there are situations and content mechanics that require healers and tanks to take the helm. However, mistake number 7 is about players not realising that the limit break meter is shared party-wide in PvE. So if you decide to pop a limit break early, you have used everyone's limit break. Now in PvP, however, it is specific to each player, but in PvE it is one for the whole party. If you use it, no one else can use it, so try not to blow your load too early, or the whole party will be left unsatisfied. Mistake 8 is probably the most common mistake I've seen new players do, and that's equipping their new earned gear. Countless times doing content with level 45 and plus, still wearing level 20 gear. It's understandable why it happens, can't be staring at your gear all day. This can have a drastic effect on your overall performance. DPS hitting like paper bags, and tanks who get one shot because of very low health. If you open your character menu, there is a handy button you can press that will automatically equip the best gear you have for yourself. It takes it directly from your armory chest. It won't, however, take it from your inventory bags. You can click an item in your inventory and equip it from there, or send it to the armory chest. Anything you unequip will go directly to the armory chest. So remember to equip your hard-earned gear to ensure you're not playing on hard mode. Unless that's your aim, in which case, you do you, boo. Lots of content does require a certain item level though, so at one point or another you won't be allowed to do anything till you put on the higher level gear. Mistake 9. Glamour. Glamour. Oh sweet merciful glamour. Great glamour equals big DPS, by the way. It's practically the endgame of Final Fantasy XIV. What's the mistake here? Too many new players are running around even by the time they reach Shadowbringers still wearing pots on their heads. Such a loss in DPS. Don't be those guys. And yes, I have a video for this, and I'll link it in the description. I just want you all to look really fucking sexy. Now go be sexy. Be the best sexy you can be. because you deserve it. And finally, mistake 10, and the biggest betrayal in Final Fantasy XIV that even veterans make. Do not spoil the story for new players. Let them experience the game at their own pace, in their own way. Lend a hand, but don't ruin the adventure of discovery for them. It's half the fun after all, and can impact a new player's enjoyment, especially players used to MMOs where the story doesn't matter. It's a whole new experience, and it is the player's first experience in the game before even getting the chance to try content. It's not often in a video I get to ask people not to be dicks. Anywho, if you enjoyed the video and found it useful, hit that like button. And if you have any mistakes you yourself have done or seen, share them below in the comments so I can ridicule them with you and also point out how I myself have done them. And subscribe to see more content. I also stream. I'm terrible but fun to laugh at. If that's your jam, you can follow me over on Twitch. Link in the description. Lots of links today. With that out of the way, thanks for watching and keep being awesome.